Today's guest, Vikram Rajan, founding partner at phoneblogger.net, now has converted his business to videosocials.net. I'm super excited today. Be sure to listen to the whole episode, and guys, cue the intro. The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity, and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. Hey guys, I'm super excited today. I've got an amazing guest. Please welcome Vik Rajan to the show. Welcome, Vik.
Hey, Eric. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm super excited. So, Vik, I kind of just want to start off like what you do, or you know what? Let's go back a little bit about your backstory and how you got into the entrepreneurship space. Tell me a little bit about that story.
Sure. We'll rewind a good number of years. So I started in business with my dad, who was a management consultant. He's practically retired at this point, but still does consulting now and then. And so when he was a consultant, my job right out of school was to introduce him to people that could bring him into the small business clients that he wanted to work with. And so his referral relationships were your everyday business lawyers, CPAs, folks like that. And so as I started getting to know them, I wanted to bring on my own clients, and more than management consulting, I was more of a marketing consultant. And so those lawyers and accountants who were essentially family friends, they had seen me grow up from my early 20s at that point to my later 20s. They wanted my help. And so I said, all right. And that's when I started realizing that there's this cottage industry of practice management and practice marketing, because they've got their own nuance of literally regulations of things that are allowed and not allowed to do or must say and things like that. And so that became my world. And then from a marketing consultant, developed a content marketing firm. And now we're at the latest iteration, from written articles to video blogging, but it's very much more of the same, of helping folks like them, boutique firms, small solo professionals who get their business through word of mouth referrals. How are they able to capitalize on their networks and circle of influence? Nowadays, using the internet, because it's much more efficient, let alone effective. But it's really just an extension of their word of mouth. It goes from word of mouth to word of mouse, and it's all the same.
That's a huge nugget. Guys, I want you to write that down. If you got a pen, word of mouth to word of mouse, because what he's done is he's basically taken his network, his referral connecting previously into now more of a internet connecting, more of referrals, and that's where a lot of everything is going to. So like that's definitely a really, really cool step. So a little bit about, I actually just want to ask you like a question on, you started off blogging.
Yeah.
And that's where the business started off. So what would be like a tip that you'd give to a new person that's getting into the blogging or getting into content creation? What would be like one tip? And then I actually want to segue into how you converted from video, from blogging to vlogging. So we'll ask this question first.
I would say the number one tip is, whenever possible, include other people in your blog post. So that could be like a roll-up where you're basically talking about maybe the 5 latest trends, or 5 experts, or 5 other people, and you're referencing them, and essentially you're hitching upon their stardom, and they're going to be happy because you included them. You're promoting them, of course, right? But they're more apt to promote you. Most likely, if you're just starting out, they've got a larger reach, a larger audience. So when they start cross-promoting you, that's tremendous. So any opportunity to interview other people, cross-promote other opportunities. I would say in the beginning, don't go for like the national celebrities of your field, because they don't really appreciate, they don't need you. You don't have that much traffic, so they don't really care. So it's much more the regional players and kind of the smaller time where maybe not a lot of people know who they are, but they're connected to a couple of hundred, couple of thousand people. Their circle of influence is way bigger than yours, and they're going to really appreciate, because they're not big time yet. So anyone referencing them in a positive way, they're happy and appreciative of. So from that aspect, don't hitch upon the big star, hitch upon like that little star where kind of someone where you would be in 5 years or maybe 10 years from now, where, you know, and then eventually in 5-10 years from now, you'll do that for someone else or with someone else.
Yeah, so that's funny, because that's exactly how I used. When I first started my podcast, I reached out to a couple people that are had a little bit more influence, had a bigger audience than me.
Right.
And we call it the Dream 100 in the group that we're in. But like, if you literally use your Dream 100, that's like a home run. Like that's a huge.
Yeah, and you know, if I can imagine who the Dream 100 is, I think Russell Brunson talks about that to some extent, right? That those are kind of maybe the dream. There may be kind of like the Dream 1000. Maybe it's the people who, yeah, you can look. You never know. You can get Russell Brunson, but maybe there's someone else who's again, like you were saying, 5 years ahead of you, where you know they're bigger, but they're more approachable and appreciative of your connection.
Yeah, that's totally. And what I found was, the more people that you go out, and everybody wants a stage, everybody wants a platform to speak from and share their story. And a lot of times, you know, people don't have a podcast, people don't have a video channel, people don't have, you know, a blog where they can get their stuff out there. And if you provide that, it's a home run.
Correct.
So you saw that video was kind of taken over. I mean, we know that YouTube is like the #2 super search engine, but you saw in your industry that video was taking over. What was your, what was like the big, like, call signs or the flags that you noticed that made you convert from where you were now with the phone blogger to video social? What was the trend? I mean, we follow trends, but what was it?
Yeah. Well, it was literally written on the wall. I mean, literally, Mark Zuckerberg wrote it on the wall. So it was back in 2017. He announced that he was going to go mobile-centric and he was going to be video-centric, and that he was going to change Facebook's algorithm to start prioritizing video posts. Mm-hmm. That was a clear indicator. I mean, that was years after Google bought YouTube. That probably should have been the indicator, but it wasn't. It was when Facebook made that change. And even then, we didn't actually do much because it didn't affect our type of clients, who are your everyday professionals, lawyers, accountants, consultants. They actually are much more of a LinkedIn crowd. So as kind of peer-to-peer, that's really where they get a lot of business, or actually can feel more comfortable because it's a business atmosphere, right? It's like a conference where they can have business cards and wear a name badge, and it's like a suit and tie crowd, and that's where they feel comfortable. So it didn't affect our clients until the following year, 2018. LinkedIn made the same announcement that they were going to essentially, they didn't say that they were following Facebook, but they were, to prioritize video posts. And now I, in my own seminars and when I talk to potential members and clients, I go, look, let's go to your LinkedIn, and you'll see that every other post is a video post. Like right now in 2020, every other post is a video post. Yet I have them think like, all right, how many people do you know that are actually posting videos? Like literally on an ongoing, like substantive videos, because on LinkedIn it's more video blogs as opposed to just kind of hanging out. And you know, it's like 5 or 6 people, like literally 5 or 6 at most. And maybe if they really stretch it, they're like, yeah, I guess I know that person. Yes, I go, all right. It's a small percentage. It's definitely not half their connections. So how can it be where every other post, half of their posts are a video post? That dichotomy is the algorithm in action. That's the anecdotal evidence that we're all living, where it's like, obviously there's something going on because half your connections aren't posting videos, yet half your posts are video. So that's clearly showing that LinkedIn not only announced it, but made that change over these past 2 years, where they are favoring, they prioritize video posts over regular written articles. So as that change was happening in 2018, we started telling our clients, look, go to these videographers, because we're not videographers. Go to these, like we recommend literally 2 or 3 people that we knew. And we said, spend an afternoon, get a whole bunch of videos done, bring a change of outfit. They'll get it onto YouTube. And then we can run with it, because as a social media marketing firm, as a content marketing, all right, we'll get it onto their website, their email newsletter, their social, that we can do. and none of them did it. Like literally, Eric, it was crazy. Like we'd follow up a couple of weeks later, a couple of months later. Hey, whatever happened with it? Did you ever happen? They're like, yeah. I talked to them. It's kind of out of our budget. It's not really a priority right now. And it's like, yeah, like I don't know if we have the time for that right now. And hem and hawing. And then we finally started realizing sometimes it was the budget and probably the time. But it was really more they were nervous about being on video. And this was like before COVID, right? Where now all of us are on Zoom and we're all forced to this. So, but for them, they never even knew what even Zoom was. So just the concept of video conferencing, it was nerve-wracking. They didn't even have a webcam, and it was crazy. So from that aspect, we had to figure out a way to kind of bring down the nerves and really just kind of make them more comfortable on video so that they can just be more themselves and, authentic, genuine, sincere, but just be how they are in person, which they may not be like a Russell Brunson or a Tony Robbins type personality where it's really hyped up and charismatic. But, maybe we don't need our elder law attorney to have like all this jumping up and down stage presence. We don't need our CPA to be like, a showman. We just need her to know what she's doing, and we trust in her to not mess up, or if she is going to mess up, at least she'll apologize and fix it. We need to trust in our relationships with our professionals, not be just impressed by their showmanship. And once we started helping them realize that they don't need to kind of be a TV star or a YouTube star even, they just need to be who they are. And they're going to connect and relate to the people that they would ordinarily relate to. And from there, video socials took off.
Wow. So basically, you're pitching authenticity. Just be who you are. Basically, you're going to meet these people in a normal meeting anyways.
Correct.
Let's just document it so that when we document it, it can be repurposed to more of the customers or clients that possibly are coming in. Wow. Correct.
Yeah. It's kind of give stuff, they all have, let's say raving fans, they all have referral relationships. They have clients who love them. They have referral relationships. And sometimes clients can't always recommend because, they're a matrimonial divorce lawyer or bankruptcy lawyer. They're not having every client going like, hey, Michael did my divorce. Or like Jane did my bankruptcy. They're not bragging about it because it's a private, it's awkward, taboo subject. So they'd rather keep it private, which becomes really difficult on social. But we're like, well, look, they don't have to first of all admit that you helped them directly, let alone the fact that this is a way of unlocking other professionals sharing you. And with our community, I remember they're constantly sharing each other, really out of friendship and respect. So it becomes a nice cross promotion community as well.
Wow. That's a huge nugget, being authentic and then using the cross promotion community. That I like what you said, because you're niched. You're super niched. Like you said, you're not going to share some of those. You might share your CPA, but you're not going to share like certain attorneys and the situation that was there. And you kind of provided a little bit of a shelter on that. So I'm going to go back. I know that you started with your dad, you worked with him, and what would be like, you've been in the entrepreneur space for decades. So what would you have told yourself when you first started, when you said, Dad, this is what I want to do. I want to jump on and do the business with you. What would you have told yourself back then that would increase the speed of your business today?
Create a community. That's probably the most significant difference from my consultant days to phone blogger, which is still a great service and company, but it lacks a community where our clients at Phone Blogger don't necessarily interface with each other. And so we miss the dynamism, the social aspect, literally with video socials. And so there are two things. Very early on, I knew the power of recurring income. Like you got to have a subscription income on credit card. Like I knew that. So that would have been ordinarily like the advice that I would give others. And then what I learned kind of even more recently is that concept of whenever you can connect your customers and clients, members, the better off everyone will be. Now, it compels you to provide a great service, because as much as there's a virtual cycle there where everyone's a raving fan, everyone's telling each other, everyone's talking up. If you're a jackass or you provide bad service, it could also implode where everyone starts talking like, Vic screwed me over. And so it keeps you on your toes to make sure you do a good job. So hopefully that's not the reason why you're doing a good job, but it definitely does. Like, all right, we got to make sure, because everyone's a Raven fan here. We don't want them raving mad. So from that aspect, it can work against you if you just want to rip off your customers. But if you really want to do right by your clients and really add value, and you know that they're going to be raving fans, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a self-fulfilling virtuous cycle when you start bringing them together. And then even if they're competitors, there's still opportunity for them to collaborate in some way or learn from one another. I mean, peer associations, like CPA societies, bar associations, trade associations, they're all essentially competitors, but they enjoy learning from each other. It's not only just doing business with each other. So even as competitors, there is that mindset of, yeah, cutthroat, but at the end of the day, what does that really mean? I think there's more collaboration benefit than competition. So from that aspect, I would have started this community a long time ago. Like, we had that idea with Phone Blogger, we just never knew how to execute it well. So when we were architecting video socials, that was like an integral part. There's probably one more part that we're not up to yet that hopefully next year will be like kind of the third thing that I wish we will do. And I'll come back on the podcast and share it at that point.
That's right. You will. So yeah, that's what I found. I was like, there's two things that I've noticed in my business. The way that I'm doing is, number one is community, just like you said, and number two is like creating it and linking it with something bigger than yourself, which is probably something that you're releasing a little bit later on. That
movement making and being part of something bigger than you are, where you're able to help other people, is kind of how we think of it, is a very simple way, where a nervous newbie person in the video blogging world, at least, they're a consummate professional, they're well experienced, well connected, well meaning, but they're just nervous on video. But they're able to obviously learn from a pro presenter. That just makes sense. But a pro presenter can also learn a lot from a nervous newbie. Mm-hmm. First of all, substantively, because that person knows a lot. He or she is an expert in their field. So they just happen to be nervous on video. That's simple. They'll get over that after doing video socials 2 or 3 times. Like within a month, they'll start posting. It's easy. But, so like we make it easy. Like we know the process. So if someone's like, oh, I can never be on YouTube. I hate seeing myself. We'll get through that. That's easy. But that pro presenter, the nervous newbies are essentially become a great audience, because when you're presenting to other people who are awesome pros, and I'm sure the feeling, it's a different dynamic, because there's kind of more watching you as a presenter, and it's a different aspect than these are raw audience people, that it's a focus group. They're going to be able to give you insight that you would never have gotten from another pro presenter. It's being able to kind of see the forest from outside the trees, so to speak, that you're coming at it with a new perspective. So that dynamic process of video socials is really cool, that everyone's able to learn from one another and everyone's able to learn from each other's styles, because sometimes someone who's super polished, super hyped up, super awesome on stage can come off like almost overwhelming and intimidating, and it actually doesn't resonate really well, because it's like, that was a cool entertainment, but it wasn't really connecting with the audience. They were almost doing it for their own purpose, So from that aspect, we kind of temper everyone. The nervous newbie is able to get a little bit of the showmanship from the pro, but the pro is able to kind of temper herself and kind of be a little bit more, hate to say ordinary, but a little bit more natural.
Right.
I would say a little bit one-on-one.
Yeah, and that's a big deal, because you we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. We connect with people that we connect with. Like if the guy is super polished and you're a nervous newbie, you're looking up like, there's no way. Yeah, that's where I want to be, but that's like a year from now. And that stops a lot of people. And I love what you got there. You got like not two silos, but you literally have 2 sections of people. Like, yeah, take this, learn here, but we're here and we're going to take you to the next level. So just trust the process, and we'll get you from nervous newbie to midline person to polished professional.
Natural. Yeah, because there is definitely a movement within our movement where, with some inside baseball stuff, that some of our members, they're so good, they want to be around other pro presenters, and they're like, yeah, I wish we could have like an advanced level club. And maybe we will. Maybe it will change our mind, but we are somewhat resistant to it, because we like the dynamism of everyone learning from each other. That if you're just around the people who are awesome and killing it, and it's like, well, that's nice. Yeah, you get to feed off. So maybe there is value, but like the inherent aspect that of diversity, and everyone's at a different level, and you're able to help others and they're able to help you in a different way. We know we're part of something larger and we're able to benefit in that way versus saying, oh, I only want feedback from someone who's a great presenter. It's not about the great presentation. It's not, Toastmasters is a great organization to help people.
I was actually just going to say that. I was literally just going to say that.
And we're big fans of Toastmasters. My business partner, Mark, who co-founded Video Socials with me, he ran, I think, the largest Toastmasters chapter in Hawaii at one point, and so it's one of the larger ones in the country. And so they have one thing where they count the ums and ahs, like the filler words, like they'll literally count to help you become conscious of those crutches so that you can remove it. And so there's value there. But there's sometimes I feel a more natural way of talking is to have the ums and ahs. And so, yes, we should be conscious that maybe we don't want to be too filler and distracting. But sometimes, again, kind of to that previous point that you reiterated, being too polished can backfire. And so we don't count ums and ahs. And it's not that we disagree with our Toastmasters. That's great for what they're looking to achieve. If their goal is to help you be a better presenter, our goal is to help you get more clients.
Right.
So it's who cares that you said um and ah? Who cares that you flubbed up a word? It's okay. Like, we flub up words all the time in natural conversation. So roll with it.
Well, and I listen to, I'm sure we both listen to Russell all the time, and he is the king of ums and ahs and filler words, but he is a dynamic presenter. He is amazing what he does, and he tells great stories. And I think that's a lot of people, with Russell, I can relate to him because he's just a guy off the street. He's not just a guy off the street, but I can relate to him because he tells a story from where he came from, and we can match with them. We can mirror with that person, which is definitely
much more every day. That's a good thing.
Right. So I always do this for all my clients. I always do a landing page. So we're going to actually link the landing page with a little snippet of this video, so that way you can kind of do a promotional video. But it's going to be at www.burntfulmarketing.com/Vik. That's VIK. But besides that part, where can the audience find a little bit about you, and what are you working on right now?
So we are constantly launching new clubs. So I welcome anyone really watching, listening, to come on as a guest and give it a try. You don't have to record a video the first time, though we want you to, because there's the first part of Video Socials, which is like the club atmosphere on Zoom. But then part two is the software that we have, where it helps brand the video, and we're programming partners with YouTube and Facebook Live and with LinkedIn. You're able to take the recording and push a button and have it stream as a Facebook Live video, for example, or post it on LinkedIn, on YouTube, etc. It's all automatic. So we want you to play with that technology as a guest as well, and really see how this can really make a difference and get more business out of it as a member. So come for a test drive, so to speak. So what we're working on right now, we launch clubs left and right. So it's a lot of fun right now. So if you go to videosocials.net, upper right-hand corner, it'll say be our next guest, and you'll see all the new clubs there as well.
And what I'll do is I'll actually put that in the landing page. Literally, be our next guest. It'll actually drop right into there.
Yeah, cool.
That is super awesome. So the last question, this interview has been fantastic. Just so you know, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Guys, he's in Manhattan. I'm in Alaska. We're in the farthest possible places we could be. But here's the thing. You're at one of your biggest conferences, the biggest conference. There's 100,000 people. I don't know how big of a stage that you want it to be, but the biggest stage. They called you to keynote. They said, Vik, I'm going to need you to keynote the show. You're closing out, like most events, you're closing out Sunday afternoon right after lunch. When you leave the stage, when everyone's getting up, turning around, 100,000 people are walking out of an arena, what is Vik's mic drop phrase that you want everyone in the audience to remember you by?
Together, fun and done.
Say that again?
Together, fun and done. That's what Video Social is. Video blogging together, fun and done.
Dude, that's a home run.
Fun, we're gonna get it done.
Nice. Together, fun and done. Guys, write that one down. That call sign is perfect.
community. And that's our community. I mean, not all communities are fun and done, but our community is fun and done.
That's funny because last year because I told you that I'm one take Jake. So this literally is like, I'm going to record it and we're done. Like there's no editing. So that's it. So that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the interview. That was phenomenal. Do you have anything to leave to the audience? Any like tip that you would leave for them if they're thinking about, I don't like video, or I'm not sure about blogging, or what would you give them?
Be our next guest and just see how other people do it. And they're just like you. They were just like you a month ago. It's really simple and easy to get going. And look, together, fun and done.
All right. Awesome. Be our next guest and be fun and done. And Vic, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Always, always, always listen to the full outro because I always giving something away for free. So make sure you listen to that. And we will catch you on the next episode of Burnt Phone Marketing Radio. Thanks, guys.
All right. Cool, man. Thank you.
So what do you do for work? The question we as network marketers get all the time. And we know that we should be prepared for explaining network marketing to a stranger. The last thing you want to do is ruin it with the vibe of your pyramid thing, right? I get it. I've been there more than I wish to admit. Until I found this, a free way to make an elevator pitch into a super easy sentence to say. The perfect way to answer the dreaded, so what do you do for a living? It's super simple, and it asks you 4 questions in less than 3 minutes, and it'll spit out an amazing headline for you. So all you have to do is go to www.unlocktheheadlinemachine.com/free. That's www.unlocktheheadlinemachine.com/free. So take our free offer and enjoy your new headline.